Hello everyone and welcome to this week's podcast with me, Gail from Sober Bliss. I thought that today I would share something with you which is really important, really powerful, and something that I am talking about in my upcoming book, and also something that I share, something that I help my one-to-one clients with. And the title is, which maybe you've clicked on it because you're a little bit intrigued. The title of the podcast today is How Michael Jordan Helped Me to Quit Drinking. And I'm going to tell you all about that today. As I said, it's something that I'm going to share with you in my new book, but I thought it would be good to let you have a little snippet today, so you get an idea of what to expect when you read the book, which I know you absolutely will. But not only that, not only is it interesting, a little bit intriguing, it's really, really powerful because it shifted everything for me and it helped me to quit drinking in a way that felt good, free from the worry, free from the fear, of relapse. It just made the whole process feel so much nicer and has enabled me to be where I am today, which is over 5 years alcohol free. And I do credit, just how far I've come simply because of Michael Jordan. No, but I do feel that the advice, I suppose, that I took from Michael Jordan helped me to get to where I am today and feel good about where I am today, and 100% secure and confident that I will stay alcohol free. And because of, what I'm going to share with you today, it's helped me to face life, face the challenges, the ups and the downs, and help me navigate the awful events of the past few months, which you'll know about, without the thought of alcohol entering my head, even the tiniest little bit. So it is that powerful. And I'm going to tell you all about it in a minute. But before I do that, before I explain just how Michael Jordan helped me to quit drinking, I really want to say thank you. When I recorded and released the last podcast about my son, as you know, it was really difficult. And it still hurts. I think it's going to hurt like this for a long time. And I still feel sad and sick and hollow most of the time. And it hurts a lot. Even just sitting thinking about it now, it hurts a lot. But I do want to say that recording that and releasing that, even though it was really difficult, it did help. And the support and kindness that I've received from you since has helped such a lot. So if you sent me a message or an email or a little emoji or a word of, love and kindness, then thank you, because it really helps me to bear it a little bit and to carry it. And talking about it has also helped me to start to take these little tiny steps forward. Because as I explained in my last video, it just felt wrong to jump on here and start talking about kind of what I'm going to talk to you about today and other hints and tips to do with alcohol-free living without talking about what's been happening in my own life. So I'm here today to say thank you and also to share just how powerful this little bit of advice that I'm going to help you with today has been for me. And I think I should point out before I go any further that I don't actually know Michael Jordan personally. In case you were wondering, no, I don't. I've never met him. I've never even watched him play on TV or otherwise. And I've never owned a pair of his legendary trainers either. But he helped me in another way, because I did read something he said once, and I can't remember where I read it or when he said it. So if you know that, then do let me know. That would be really good to add to this. But I read something once that he said, and it landed with me so much and created a huge shift in my thinking and my feeling about sobriety. And I share it all the time. You probably heard me say it before. But the thing that Michael Jordan said was, once I made a decision, I never thought about it again. And I do share that quote all the time because it just really helped me so much. For me, making that firm, clear decision and then never thinking about it again, that's the key, is what finally I feel freed me up from everything that had been keeping me stuck to do with, wanting to stop drinking. It finally got rid of that horrible internal struggle and battle that had been raging on inside my head for so long, and allowed me to start to move forward, start to make the progress that I wanted to make. Because I think it was the indecision, it was the inability that I had to make, a decision and stick to it, that had been really the thing that had been keeping me stuck. Will I, won't I, when shall I, how will I, all of that, instead of just, okay, Gail, come on, let's do it. So trying to moderate all the time and telling myself things like, I'll stop drinking when, I don't know, the summer's over or the winter's over or after Christmas. Or I'll stop drinking when I've got more time, a bit more money, I've got all the books or whatever. Even telling myself that now just wasn't the right time and I needed to wait until after Christmas, after summer, or until I'd done all the inner work. Wait until I knew about self-care and boundaries and how to journal and what self-care was, or I had more confidence, and just excuses, really. I'd been delaying making the decision, I think, and actually that's the thing that it came down to, was making the decision, doing that first. Okay, Gail, we're not drinking. Decision made. And then use that as a springboard to, I don't know if it was to give myself permission or to kind of draw a line in the sand. I'm not sure what it was, but it was decision first, then, okay, so I'm not drinking, that's taken care of. Now what am I going to do? Now I get to work on all of the other things, even cravings, for example. I thought that I would work out how to manage cravings first, and then I would stop drinking. And I thought, once I've done that, once I know how to manage a craving, then I'll be able to stop drinking. It'll be easy. But actually, I was never going to do that. I had to stop drinking first, or at least commit to it, and then I would be able to work out, how do I get through a craving? So I had it all along the wrong way around in my head. And making this decision and then moving on from that, is nothing new. You've heard me say it before. You've probably read Holly Whitaker talking about it in her book. That's never question the decision. That's the NQTD. That's what she's got tattooed on her wrist, I think it is. And I think Holly Whitaker read it in Alan Carr's book. I think it's The Easy Way to Quit Drinking. And he says, make the decision and never question it. Because that's where the doubt and the temptation can creep in, questioning the decision, I suppose, or not being very, very firm or clear or grounded in the decision. That's when thoughts can crop up, or the wine whisperer can really start getting into our heads again. When we start questioning the decision, when we start wondering, have I made the right choice? Then that's when we can start to wobble and waver and be tempted and maybe end up back where we started. So the quote that I share by Michael Jordan is very, very similar. Make the decision and then never think about it again. That's exactly what I did this time round. Unlike what I'd been doing before, which was make the decision and then unmake it again, usually many times a day. But this time I did make it and I didn't think about it again. And then I added a little bit of extra magic to my decision, which again, you've heard me talking about before. And that was, I made a mantra to help confirm the decision, I suppose, to help ground me in that decision. And the mantra was, I'm not drinking no matter what. So that was my decision, accompanied by a little mantra. I'm not drinking no matter what. That's what I told myself. And that, I suppose, was, the real game changer. No matter what happens, if I'm having a great time, if I'm having a shit time, a wonderful day or a bad day, no matter what anybody says or does or, life circumstances, no matter what happens, I'm not drinking. Decision made. And that was so powerful for me and so liberating. I really can't tell you how amazing that felt. And it was, pretty quick when it happened. And I think because it was so powerful for me and so finite, I suppose, it's because it took me a long time to get there. And I'd always struggled with the idea of forever, and based on things that I'd read about in the past, the whole AA thing, one day at a time. When you see those initials, ODAT, what the fuck's that? That's one of the things that put me off. I felt really uncomfortable with the concept of that. I've read it in other places as well, not just AA. And I suppose in some ways it does make sense. But for me, it just felt like such an effort, such a struggle, quite miserable. I felt, I didn't like the idea that I might have to wake up every day and make the decision again and again and again. It felt, miserable and binding to keep reminding myself in this way rather than just, getting on with the rest of my life, which is what it felt like using Michael Jordan's way, I suppose. I made the decision once and that was it. And other people have told me about this as well, how it's helped them. A past client of mine, for example, shared with me her own feelings about why making this clean break, this clean decision was so powerful for her. And she said because otherwise it would be like dragging around the past, like a ball and chain, instead of simply undoing the ankle chain and stepping lightly away to the future without a backward glance. Isn't that such a lovely way to think about it? Much more eloquent than I can come up with. But the principle's the same. Making the decision, undoing the ankle chain, is creating that freedom. And for me, it freed my mind of the internal struggle that I'd been living with for such a long time. It made such a big difference to feel like that was it. Decision made, all done. There's no need to keep reliving all the horrible past mistakes. No need to keep reminding myself why I have to do this. No need to keep fighting or struggling or worry about trying to unsuccessfully moderate. Making that decision just felt like such a relief. It felt like that I could finally just get on with the business of navigating the rest of my life, sorting myself out, working out kind of where I'd gone off track a little bit and how to get back on track, and doing all of the internal things that I thought once I'd done first, then I'd be able to stop drinking. But it was so completely the other way around. So in some ways, actually, making the decision was the easy bit. It was the bits that came afterwards that were more challenging. But at least I was free to tackle those challenges. At least I was free, to work out where I'd gone wrong and how to get back to myself. And at least I didn't have to think about drinking anymore and throw that in the mix. And it felt different. It really did. And here I am, over 5 years later, still feeling that wonderful sense of freedom and liberation that came from making that decision. And my clients tell me that all the time. This time it feels different. And I think the reason for that switch flipping is arriving at that decision. That strong, clear, empowered decision. Yes, I'm going to do that. I'm going to take back my life, I suppose. I'm going to live it how I want to live it. And I'm not going to let alcohol anywhere near it anymore. That's the empowering and the freeing part. And then you can get on and take the next steps. Because just because you made the decision, it doesn't mean that everything is sunshine and roses. Often it's quite the opposite. Not always, but sometimes. And that's usually when the need for support can, come in. But it's so much easier to ask for that support, to realize that actually you do need support, and to commit to finding that support for yourself, whatever that looks like, once you've made the decision that this is what I'm going to do. And for me, it was always before that kind of half-hearted, wishy-washy, will I, won't I? So I never really understood probably what it is that I actually needed to do to make this a success. It's a bit like, if you send out a wishy-washy request to the universe, then you get a wishy-washy thing back. You have to be firm and clear and ask for what you want. And the only way you can do that is if you know what you want and make the decision. Some examples of that are someone that I'm working with right now, actually. She said, I'm done with it. I know I'm done. But what I don't know is how to move forward. And that's where I come in. That's where the help comes in. And another lady said to me not so long ago, I'm really clear that this is not something I want in my life anymore, but I need the support and accountability to help me with the next phase of actually being without alcohol in my life. And that's what I help you with, the how. I help you with the how, the support, the accountability, the encouragement, the empowerment. and the safe space to explore what it's like and to learn how to navigate a life free from alcohol. But you've got to know first that that's what you want. And once you do, then I'm right here alongside you, helping you. And I do what I do because I know what it's like. I absolutely know what it's like to be on both sides of that decision. I know what it's like to struggle, to hate yourself, and to just wish, that it would stop. And I also know what it's like to live again, to begin to navigate your life and take those scary yet exciting steps into the unknown. I've been there. I'm still here. I've made the decision, and I've had that lovely experience of flipping that switch. And I am walking the path of alcohol freedom, feeling 100% secure and confident and happy in my decision. No matter what happens, this is me, this is where I am, this is what I do, and that feels good. So I don't know if you know this, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about how my own switch flipping happened, which is quite unexpected, over 5 years ago now, on March 28th, 2018. Up until this point, I'd been drinking daily for about 5 years, and every day wanting to stop, every day looking and reading and wishing and hoping. I even wanted something bad to happen to me so that I couldn't drink anymore. And you can read more about, my own story and listen to other podcasts where I've talked about that. But the day that I stopped drinking, as I said, was really unexpected, and my husband decided that he wasn't going to have a drink that particular day, the day before actually, because there were still 3 beers in the fridge. So of course I drank those, couldn't leave them there. And the next day, March 28th, 2018, I asked him, "So, are you drinking today or not?" "No," he said. "I don't think I'll be drinking again. To be honest, maybe you should try it with me." I was like, "What? No. Wow. I hadn't been expecting that." So part of me on that day went into a complete panic and thought, no, there's just no way, I'm not ready for this. But yet the other part of me felt the biggest sense of relief. And I thought, oh, thank you. I am so ready for this. It wasn't the right time at all. Not at all. None of my ducks were in a row. In fact, there were no ducks. I hadn't got anything figured out. But it felt right. It felt like I could give it a try. And that's when I made the decision. That's when I made the decision to try to put myself first. And I never thought about that again, you know. And in that moment, that's when the horrible tug of war in my head stopped. That's when the wine whisperer stopped. That's when the will I, won't I kind of conversation, the inner struggle stopped. And instead, I focused my attention on doing this and making it the best and most kind and loveliest experience that I possibly could. So I decided then to show up for myself in a way that I never had done before. And I never looked back. And that's when I made the decision to put myself first. And as I said, that decision was the first step really to helping me approach this journey from a completely different perspective. It was decision first. Now what am I going to do? How am I going to do all of those things that I'd been worried about, that I'd been stressing about. Making the decision helped me to start to figure out the how and to face all of the things that had been putting me off before. Like socializing and cravings and triggers and sleep and boredom, and how do I cope with stress? How do I celebrate? How do I get through the next 4 hours? Making the decision therefore cleared the path for me, if you like, and helped me to start to look at all of those things and all of the other things in my life that, quite frankly, needed attention. Why was I so stressed? Why was I all over the place? Why did I hate myself so much? And making that decision meant that I was free to start living my life again, basically. So it was quite a dramatic thing that happened to me. And you might experience it too, or it might be a bit more of a gentle build up, because making the decision for yourself is many layered, and it's often not something you can just arrive at, although it might be. And I say that my decision was quite dramatic. In the moment, I suppose it was, but it was really, the result of a long time, those past 5 years of daily drinking, spent searching, exploring, experimenting. Maybe you get to your own decision a similar way. Maybe you've already had some sober time. Maybe you want to try a little bit more before you can fully decide and commit. Making the decision is also important to try and work out why you haven't been able to make it before. What's been keeping you stuck in the past. And then also look at what your deep inner motivation is for arriving at this decision. Because once you know your why, then nothing can shake you from your path. For me, decision made, and then I worked out all the whys and the hows. For you, it might be different. You might want to work out the why first, which is so important. And I always spend a lot of time at the start of, every client journey. When I start working with somebody, we always spend a lot of time connecting to the why, connecting to this deep internal compass, because it is so powerful. Once you know your why, then nothing can stop you. And I'm going to help you with that right now by sharing a link to a really powerful guided meditation I've created for you, which is going to help you to connect to your own powerful why. And the link for that, it will be in the show notes. And then who knows, once you've connected with that, you might be able to make your own powerful decision from there. Because once you know what it is that you want and why you want it, and then from there you can work out what's been standing in your way, and then you can begin to work on putting all the tools in place, the practices, the strategies, looking at, self-care habits, reframing your thoughts and your beliefs, and looking at your actions, your behavior, your environment, and the day-to-day living. You can begin to sort all of that out, so it begins to reflect and support your decision. In other words, once you make the decision that you're going to commit, and then you look at why, then you can begin to live in alignment. And that's when everything clicks into place. You can physically feel the shift, and that's when the feel good part comes, and that's the bit that I help people with in my coaching program. But the key to all of that, the key to coming to that place, knowing what it is that you want, why you want it, and getting the support if needed, is committing to yourself and showing up for yourself. And that has to come from a place of love and kindness. I say it all the time. And one of my past clients reminded me of that when she first started working with me. She said it stuck with her. It has to come from a place of love and kindness. It really does. Because you can't bully yourself or beat yourself sober or shame yourself or guilt yourself sober. You can't. The only way, and I really mean this, the only way that you'll be able to arrive at that decision, the only way you'll be able to commit to this and show up for this is if you do it from a place of love and kindness. That's the only way you're going to be able to do this and feel good about it. And you have to make it a priority. You have to make yourself a priority. And that's often why we don't make the decision, because we're afraid of that. We're afraid of putting ourselves first because it is so alien and unknown. But you absolutely have to do it because you absolutely deserve to. You deserve all of the love, the joy, the happiness, and the peace that comes with this lifestyle. Honestly, you really do. So now it's up to you to make the decision. Please do listen to that meditation, the Finding Your Why meditation. That's going to help you so much. And if you need more support after listening to this, after listening to that meditation, then you can either sign up for my newsletter where you get your free guide to helping you through wine o'clock and another lovely guided visualization, or you can book a call with me and talk about how we can work together. And I'd love to help you once you've made the decision. I'd love to help you to get to the decision. Because as I said, you absolutely do deserve a life of alcohol freedom. So if you're ready, I'm here to help you. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and send me an email, gail@sober-bliss.com, or check out my website if you've got any questions or you just want to let me know how today's episode has helped you. I'd love to hear from you. Take care, and I'll speak to you very soon. Bye for now.